Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fat Minute, the official podcast of Pooka, Saucy.
I'm your host, Blake Jones. I'm gathered here today with my lawfully wedded wives.
What jihad did you die and go to?
I'm here with co-creator Michael Whedon.
Fuck.
I'm here with co-writer Trevor Klein.
I smell a lawsuit already.
I'm here with my comedic muse Zachary Kogel.
Hello.
And my editor and producer Donnie Johnson.
Hey, get your finger out of there. That's exit only.
Okay.
Okay, and if you're wondering why Kogel sounds like Krunk from the Emperor's New Groove,
We asked him to sound like Kronk.
No, his balls finally dropped.
Turn the mic off.
Which mic?
Yes. I resent that.
All right, now that everybody's cleaned the blood from their heads.
Okay. How we all doing tonight?
We sure are.
I am
We
fantastic.
sure are.
I am fat and sassy. I'm ready to go.
Did you shave?
Yeah.
Both.
Both.
I shaved, but not where you think.
Oh. Michael, how are we doing?
Doing all right.
Klein?
Jones.
You're like two
Ezekiel?
nemesis. Ezekiel.
Ezekiel?
I sure am.
Since when is Kogel called Ezekiel?
Okay.
Didn't we have a podcast we were going to do?
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, so some trailers dropped this week, so let's dump.
Time for the big dump.
Let's start with the one that we're probably the least passionate about. The trailer for the new movie, Paper Towns, is now
God.
out from the author of The Fault in Our Stars, John Green.
Some
Well, we lost that one.
Michael, let's start with you on what we thought of this trailer, and please don't talk like that.
Are you sure that's where you want to start?
Oh, I just okay, well, I'll get into that. It looks, in all honesty, it looks alright.
It looks
I
alright.
suppose.
Looks aight.
I didn't see The Fault in Our Stars, nor have I read the book, nor do I plan to read the book. Maybe I'll catch the movie sometime when I'm on a date or something. I don't know. But
That's when I caught it.
I mean, like the plot, like I don't know, just the whole.
I said I
Chasing
was joking when I said this, but it's like oh, it's like a PG Gone Girl.
And my thing is, like, teenage boy, like, who the hell's gonna chase after some girl that moves away? Like, their young mind's just gonna move on to some other tale in the high school. And the only thing I would like to point out from, I just noticed on IMDb, the main girl, Cara Delevingne, I think that's how I'm pronouncing Delevingne, who plays, like, the girl that, you know,
Disappears.
She is Enchantress in Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I just noticed that.
Oh.
So,
So
like,
next year she'll have a movie worth remembering.
yeah, so next year she'll have a movie where I actually care about. But other than that, I don't really got a lot to say.
Trevor.
There's two types of bad trailers.
And that was
One's-
both of them.
There's ones that show too little plot, which we'll come back to later with another movie, and ones that show way too much.
This was the second.
This was the because I can tell exactly where that plot's going to go.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell him?
Well, he's going to go chase after the girl who disappeared or whatever, and, you know, he has 3 companions.
Now, keep in mind, Trevor has not read the book, so he's not actually spoiling.
I've never read any John Green's works. I have seen Fault in Our Stars. That was all right. It was okay.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. But,
Seemed a little too sappy.
it really wasn't even all that sappy by the end. I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was. But, he's got 3 companions, 2 girls and a guy. It's obvious from the trailer that the one girl and the one guy hook up. The way I see this movie going is they're never going to find her. There's going to be some bullshit about it all being about the journey. And he's going to end up with the other girl. So, I mean, it's pretty bad when you can pretty much read the plot by the trailer.
Just remember that, everyone. March 23rd, Trevor's calling the ending to a movie that comes out this summer. Kogel.
I just want to point out that when he made that observation, that like made me angrier.
You want a kiss?
That trailer, yeah.
Honestly, I've never really liked movies like this. They're just better left for books.
Donnie.
Because half the time when they look,
Hey,
because
that's
half
mine.
the time when they're turned into a movie, it feels. When I use the word sickening, I mean like. It's that feeling you get where, you know, when something's too sweet, like when you eat too much cheesecake and you feel like you're going to vomit. Cheesecake's good, but you ate a whole cheesecake kind of thing. Well, this movie, it's trying to be too much of what it's trying to go for.
It's trying to be too much of a cheesecake.
Yeah, it's trying to be too much of a cheesecake. So
When it's really a strawberry shortcake.
bunt cake.
I'm gonna look up how it is.
But yeah, it's
I don't want to know. I'm going to see it.
I'm just gonna look it up. I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, you're gonna see it with your
Yeah, I've always
girlfriend
been the
and not
one.
pay attention.
I've always been the one amongst all of us who, every time
Yeah.
a really sappy movie like that comes out in theaters, I always shout, "Oh, gag me!" or "Oh, fucking gag me!" So I watched the end of this trailer. Blake looks at me, and I'm just thinking to myself, "Oh."
Why don't we branch off into a little story time? Why don't you tell the story of what you said in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes when they did the Coca-Cola commercial at the theme park?
Oh my god.
I
Yeah.
cannot forget the time
So
I first laid eyes on you.
it was the most sappiest Six Flags commercial ever. They're like, they find love at a Six Flags. In my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, they're just gonna leave and forget about each other. So then they try to make it look like they left together. And then all of a sudden it says Six Flags and Coca-Cola. And not even thinking out loud, I just go, oh my god, untie all Six Flags and hang me with them. Everyone didn't know what to say.
Donnie.
Yeah, how can you top a story about me untying all Six Flags and hanging myself with them?
I don't care about this movie at all. I really don't.
Okay.
This
Moving
could-
on.
This the movie looked at least a little interesting for what it was up until it got to the point in the trailer where the girl just disappears.
See, I thought that's where it gets interesting.
Well, it's okay to be wrong, but you see, basically,
That's fine.
but it felt like they pulled that out of their ass. I mean, I have nothing to say about this movie except I don't care. I think it's just going to be your random, generic, run-of-the-mill teen dramatic romance comedy movie. Yeah. So
Okay, let's just move on. Let's get into the trailer for the new Transporter movie. The Transporter Refueled. Starring... Who's the guy in that?
Yep.
Discount Nicholas Holt.
Yeah, he looks like Nicholas Holt.
Oh, give me that.
Can we start with me?
So... Yeah, we'll start with you.
There's two types of trailers.
and this was both of them.
This was the opposite. This is the one that shows too little plot. I had no
Yeah.
idea what was going on. I mean, it's an action movie. I don't really go for the plot, but it's like... I don't get it. Is it the same guy? Like, is it supposed to be the same character Jason Statham played?
It's a
Is it
reboot.
Yeah. The plot's
Is
not
it?
the plot's enough synopsis. Literally on IMDb, it's just a reboot of the story of the transporter Frank Martin.
So it's the same guy.
It's the same character, and the guy's name who plays him is Ed Skrein. I think how you say it.
Ooh,
Skrein.
he's not going to get far with that name.
Ed Skrein. I think how you say it. Screen.
Changes it in
Skrein?
6 months, I guarantee it.
Or
Okay.
Skrine. I don't know.
I mean, it looks as good as the other ones, I guess, but it's it's just...
Never saw the other
Oh,
ones.
and by the maker of the Taken trilogy. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
It already has reviews on IMDb. It's got a 4 out of 10.
Okay,
It
well,
came
there's
out
what I thought.
overseas this month, but it only comes out in the U.S. in September. I don't know why.
You
the
know
long
it's
wait.
going to be bad if that happens.
Yeah.
Kogel. Donnie.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever seen those jokes about Michael Bay films where they don't really have too much plot, but by God, the explosions. This
Everybody's
kind of
seen
had
those
that.
jokes.
Yeah, everybody have seen those jokes. So basically, this kind of reminded me of that, where the whole trailer was just like, "Oh yeah, sex, guns, explosions, cars, pyaw, pyaw, pyaw," and no plot whatsoever.
But
So I don't have high hopes for this movie
But
at
it's
all.
made by the maker of the Taken trilogy.
Yeah, that doesn't help it.
Donnie.
This had to be the most generic I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I agree with
It
that.
almost looks like a car commercial.
Guy in a suit
oh my-
car into things he shouldn't.
That man, he is outie there. That's all I had
This
to
just
say
looked
about
like
that
the world's
trailer.
most expensive Super Bowl spot that's not for a movie.
I agree with Zach. It was just your everyday action movie that's going to be shit. Just he's going to get shot here, and then he's going to fuck this girl, and then he's going to snort this pile of cocaine, and he's going to fuck that girl. Like
While he's snorting cocaine.
Yeah.
Does the transporter do drugs?
I don't know.
I don't know. Probably.
doesn't matter
When he doesn't-
anymore.
when he's not transporting
Well,
people.
okay, want to know what my first thought was when this trailer ended?
Shit.
Thank God.
I looked at it and I go, oh, Hitman Agent 47 looks better.
That's kind of sad.
This was easily the most generic trailer
Guy
I've ever
in
seen.
suit kills people.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. The batch of trailers we're talking about tonight fucking suck.
And we'll see you next week.
Okay, well, I think they're going to get better, though.
I don't know.
Michael, what did you think of the transporter refuel?
It's a slow news week.
I like Jason Statham. I haven't seen the first three, so I don't have an opinion on like if there's like hardcore transporter fans getting enraged or whatever. But I mean, yeah, it doesn't look all that great. Another thing to point out, nerd news: the new guy, the new transporter, however you say his name, he's in Deadpool, but it doesn't say who he is.
Oh, well.
But other than I don't know what to say.
I don't really, yeah. But let's just move on. Whew.
This is going to be one skinny minute.
Yeah.
So the trailer for Insidious 3,
Oh,
trailer
Jesus.
number 2 dropped. What do we think of that, Michael?
I'm a big fan of the first two movies.
James Wan.
Yeah, I love James Wan. James Wan's a very good horror director and just a good director in general.
Mm-hmm.
You like Dead Silence a lot.
Yeah, that's Dead Silence. The one he did, Dead Silence. That's my favorite horror movie he's done. I love Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne in the first two. This one is a prequel and focuses on like the paranormal people, like with Lynn Shay, who's like the older lady that's like the whatever she is, the
weird
the
tan lady and there's something about Mary.
the clairvoyant lady.
Psychic medium.
And then Lee,
Who was used in Ouija, which was really weak.
and then Lee Winnell, who's like his character's name's Specs.
Yeah, Ouija is usually weak. Mario's better.
He is like the main writer that James Wan always works with, and he usually stars in the movie. Like in the first Saw movie, he's the dude that's chained up with Carrie Elways at the beginning, and then he's like one of the paranormal guys in all the Insidious movies. And since James Wan left to direct Furious 7, Lee Winnell, who's wrote the first two, he's directing. So I'm like, if they're gonna pick anybody to direct it, like that's the guy who wrote the first two is a good choice. But
And he wrote this one.
he wrote and directed this one. And I like Dermot Mulroney. He plays the girl's dad. It's like
He was good in About Schmidt. I like him in that.
he's one of those actors that isn't real big, but he's been around since the 80s. But I don't know, like it's kind of got Annabelle syndrome where like it doesn't look as good as the first one, or you know. But it could be better because Annabelle was made by the guy that made Mortal Kombat Annihilation, but this guy was actually involved with all the other ones, so it could be good, But
Trevor.
I think it suffers from the problem of trying to continue a franchise with a movie that isn't super related.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, besides the one lady showing up in the title, of course, you wouldn't even realize that's an Insidious movie. And, I mean, I did enjoy the first two. I always liked Conjuring a bit more myself, though. But I don't know how to feel about this one. I feel like I just haven't seen enough to judge it. But it just kind of looks like your typical horror movie with like a somewhat big name attached to it.
Yeah. Kogel.
The whole time I'm watching it, I just keep thinking of that one really short lady from, what is it, the Amityville Horror or something.
Poltergeist.
You need to leave the house. The house is haunted.
yeah, that's Poltergeist.
But yeah, to me, it just felt really kind of generic. Just the idea that, Oh no, she conjured a spirit she wasn't supposed to. Oh no, it's making her bleed. Oh no, it broke her neck and shins. Oh no, it's taken over her body. It broke her cast. She's walking. Oh fuck. It's just I don't know what else to say about that. Donnie, help me out.
I haven't
Pass.
seen. I haven't seen any of the Insidious movies, so I really don't know anything about them.
I haven't either.
Yeah. But I'll say this: the first trailer that I saw for Insidious 3, the first one, it looked pretty cool. This one looks all right. I think the first trailer's better.
The first trailer for this movie?
Yeah.
Tell the story of what happened when we saw the first trailer.
You almost pooped your pants. Like, you straight up, like, I think your...
When the arm comes down and grabs her from the ceiling or whatever?
Your soul almost left your body.
He did the classic, thinks he's having a heart attack, but grabs the wrong side of his chest.
Yeah. You saw God, and he slapped you and said, "Get the fuck back down there." So, I mean, Insidious 3, it looks cool. It looks decent.
I'll see it.
Yeah, I'll see it. I'll give it a try. I might watch the other two first.
Give it a watch out of 10.
So, as disappointing as the first three trailers were, let's hope that we have a little more interest in the next three. I'll start with the trailer for Pixels from Happy Madison, starring Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Michelle Monaghan, Peter Dinklage, Josh Gad, and the creator of Pac-Man. It's directed by Chris Columbus, not the one who killed Indians. It's directed by the one who created Home Alone, The Goonies, Gremlins, just been around. The first two Harry Potter movies.
He did direct Gremlins.
He wrote it. He wrote Gremlins.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote Gremlins, wrote The Goonies, and directed Home Alone 1 and 2, and
He directed the first Percy Jackson.
Yeah, and so
And the first two Harry Potters.
Harry Potters. What did we think, Donnie?
First problem is it's an Adam Sandler movie. That's the first mistake. I find it...
Hey, it's an Adam Sandler movie that's not in the 90s.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
I find it impossible to really care about anything Adam Sandler does anymore because it's always terrible anymore. I think his last good movie was Click. That was his last really good movie.
Yeah.
The whole time I was watching the trailer for Pixels, I couldn't find a reason to get interested at all. And it's also, like Trevor mentioned during the trailer, it steals from a Futurama episode really
had
bad.
Exactly the same plot.
Yeah, just about, yeah.
It even had Donkey Kong.
Yeah, and Pac-Man.
Yeah.
And Michael points out the trailer starts out the same way the first teaser for the first Transformers did.
So not a moment of it was original.
It's just the movie itself just looks it looks dumb. I mean,
it's aliens misinterpret a shuttle we sent out or a rocket we sent out, and they come back and invade us as video game characters. Okay, Kevin James is the president. You lost me. That's where it always.
Sandler tried that now.
And then it's also
where Kevin James is the president.
Yeah, hail to the chimp, or whatever.
Well, it's also
hold on.
Fucking.
I gotta look that up.
I don't know if he's wearing a wig, but Peter Dinklage's hair in that trailer.
Why does Peter Dinklage have a mullet?
It looks like a dead squirrel.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I guess he saw Chappie and was like, "All right,
yeah,
I'll do Hugh Jackman."
Yeah,
I guess mullets are coming back.
Yeah.
Ew.
God help us all.
Don't tell my heart, my
Koga, what do we think?
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news to everybody who likes this, but this movie has something in common with Adam Sandler.
It's terrible?
Both of their humor are both the old video games and Adam Sandler are just as outdated, and no one just as much cares about them. So, with that being said, every time Adam Sandler has probably made a joke in that trailer, I straight face through it because he's not funny anymore. Well, he's over. He has his own style of jokes, which was like, I don't know, revolutionary for when he came out. I mean, when the first few movies that he was in, he was really, really funny, but now he's trying to overuse it, and he's not that funny anymore.
Do you think they'll make a sequel to Pixels called 8-Bit?
Trevor.
I'm real close to a pass. I just, again, like Donnie said, I just really hate
care
Adam
to
Sandler.
a point that he doesn't have an opinion.
I think, Michael, you were the most, out of all of us, you were the most optimistic, or at least fair about this movie. What all do you have to say? I mean, you like Chris Columbus.
I do. I think he's a really good director.
He had 3 boats. What's not to love?
My thing is like, I think it could be enjoyable. I'm not saying it could be good, because I don't want to put it out there, because I used to love Adam Sandler. Like, I quote like his old movies from like the 90s and early 2000s all the time.
Little Nicky was my shit.
Yeah, like I love like
Get in the Flash.
I'm
Big Daddy, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Water Boy. Like I love those.
Those are really good.
The thing is, it's just like after, like Donnie said, after Click, like he just went downhill. Only collects paychecks. Like Jack and Jill is probably the worst movie I've ever seen, and I paid money for that, and I wanted to tear my face off. I'm sorry, Blake. If you got me in that for free, I'd still want my money back. So it's even worse. But like,
I'm gonna throw this one out there. The shot of Pac-Man eating the fire truck, that actually looked kind of cool.
I think
that did.
The special effects look cool, but the movie itself just
it should have been used on a better cast.
Shouldn't have been used at all.
I think the concept's funny. Just people fighting old video game characters.
Yeah. But it almost feels like a Disney Channel TV movie.
Ew.
It feels like they just watched Ghostbusters and Pacific Rim and played some video games and were like, yeah.
I honestly feel that the Apatow universe could have done this better.
Probably. You were going to continue with something, Michael?
I don't know. It could be okay. I'll give it a chance. Like, I'll go see it, but other than that...
You know what was the dumbest part?
What?
Where they're driving little PT Cruisers colored like the ghost.
Those are actually Fiats.
Whatever.
When they're driving the little cars that are colored like the ghosts.
And they have the license plates with the ghost's name.
Yeah, like Michelle Monaghan like delivers her lines like really cheesy, like they're really cringeworthy. Like, these are your ghosts. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I love Michelle Monaghan though.
I was saying that the whole trailer.
She's very out of place.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they made like Peter Dinklage like goofy looking to fit a comedy, but like Michelle Monaghan's like a serious actress, and she's just doing some Adam Sandler movie.
The next trailer is probably the one that I was most excited to talk about, at least out of the newer ones. Mission Impossible 5, Rogue Nation.
Godo Call.
Rogue Nation, directed by Christopher McQuarrie. He's the guy who directed Jack Reacher. He co-wrote
Around.
He co-wrote Edge of Tomorrow, and I think he produced another Tom Cruise movie. So basically, this guy's trying to adopt Tom Cruise.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't you? He's so adorable.
But what did we think of the trailer for Mission Impossible?
Yeah, Christopher McQuarrie.
Yeah, what did we think of the trailer, starting with you, Michael?
I think it looks pretty good. I really like the Mission Impossible movies. I've seen them all. Besides, like, 2, I think they get better as they go along, like, meaning I like 1 better than 2. But other than that, like, in the order they're in from, like, 1 to 4, I think they get better as they go along. Ghost Protocol's my favorite. And, like, ever since 3, J.J. Abrams been involved, and you can tell, like, they've kept a lot of the same characters from 3. Because, like, the whole movies, the only people that are recurring, the only actors that have been in all of them is Tom Cruise and Ving Rhames. But now, like, we've had, like, Simon Pegg from, like, 3 to 5. We have Jeremy Renner in 4 and 5 and stuff like that. But no, like, it looks...
really fun.
It looks like a Mission Impossible movie, like just like a fun action movie. And there's like a new girl character.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with
I think she's
her.
trying to be like a female version of Ethan Hunt, like since like he tried to. It's putting off the vibe like he tried to live like a normal life in the old movies and had like a wife that was just a normal lady and it didn't work out. And maybe they're trying to think like maybe he should be with someone that's like him because she can like kick ass and stuff. And like they ask, like,
bubblegum.
And they ask him, like, can you trust her? And I'm like, well, movie cliche, yeah, you can trust her. She's hot. But no, I think it looks cool.
Trevor.
I really need to actually, watch the entire series one day.
You've never seen any of them?
No.
Okay. Well, you only need to see 3 and 4.
Okay, Kogel. But no, I think it looks. I really wasn't a big fan of Jack Reacher like at all, but this looks like such an improvement on that.
Yeah.
I have hope for it.
Well, Tom Cruise carried that whole movie.
Jack Reacher, yeah.
If Tom Cruise...
Just barely.
If Tom like I would give Jack Reacher like maybe a low C, but if Tom Cruise hadn't been in that movie, it probably would have been like a complete F.
Yeah, like
That movie's so boring.
if you removed Tom Cruise, it's the most generic movie ever.
Yeah.
But
I do love that cut where they take out all the dialogue in the one fight scene, though.
yeah. Member. Kogel.
Wow. I like the preview. I mean, I don't think I saw Ghost Protocol.
Godo call.
I don't think I saw
Where he's
Godo Call.
climbing the building.
Go to bed.
No, I don't think I saw that one.
But did you see 3 with Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Oh yeah, I did.
yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Go to Trace.
R.I.P.
Dustin Seymour
Seymour.
Hoffman.
R.I.P. Seymour.
Rest in peace.
Dustin Russell.
Heroin.
But,
No, you think the
yeah, I think this one has a good bit of promise.
I promise I'll see it.
Hey, yeah, I promise I'll see it. Yeah, but that's about as much as I have to say to it. I like where it's going. I like how it looks.
does he get your thumb?
It gets the tip.
I'm putting my
I don't know how it's gonna go so far.
I'm
So it
putting my
gets my
thumb right up
tip.
there.
It gets the tip. It gets the nail. It
He,
gets the nail.
doesn't know if it'll accept or reject it, but he's just giving it the tip.
I'm giving it the tip.
He's poking it, seeing how it reacts.
Get a little stimulated.
All hail the nail.
Donnie.
I've never seen any of the Mission Impossibles, but I mean, just based off the preview with the fucking poster for this movie, it looks like the most over-the-top movie that's going to come out in quite a while.
The fourth one's the exact same poster. Like this one, he's like hanging off the plane
Yeah.
while it's taking off, and the fourth movie has the shot of where he's climbing that giant fucking skyscraper.
I just saw the poster for this. I was like, and the award for the most okay moment of the year goes to.
Well, here's the thing. They don't call it Mission Impossible for nothing.
Well, like I said, I've never seen any of them, so I'm in for
Are
a
they gonna call
surprise.
it Mission
They
Possible?
took that bit out of the end of Black Sheep.
Yeah,
yeah, when Chris Farley gets stuck in the door
Yeah.
on the plane and they take off.
yeah.
That's
And I love Simon Pegg coming up from the grass.
yeah. I love Simon Pegg.
And he just looks at the plane. Oh my god!
Yeah, when he comes up from he looks like a freaking swamp witch in that grass suit.
Swamp Witch.
Him and his ghillie suit.
But out of all the trailers we watched tonight, this is the only one that I can almost guarantee will be anywhere near good.
Even more than the next movie?
I forget what the next one is. What are we?
Yeah, there was one for 4.
When we diddling.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It's basically the
Oh,
same thing.
well, I mean, at the very least, this is the one that I can guarantee the most that will be
Yeah, fun.
Good.
Fun.
good.
But yeah, I love Tom Cruise. He's one of my favorite action heroes.
He went insane for a little bit, but now he's back.
He's a great actor.
He gave up. He found the light and gave up Scientology. Now he's golden.
Did he give up Scientology?
No.
For them.
What?
He should.
I mean, nothing beats a movie on cruise control.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's
That
just...
kills me.
And so, the final... And we're not just reviewing the trailer here. There's also news behind this. So there's a horror movie coming out called It Follows. It's supposed to be like one of the best horror movies in the last several years. Oh, I got all your attention now. You're all leaning in.
Yeah.
There you are.
What time are we at?
We are at 28 minutes.
Oh boy!
So everybody talk about this trailer for a half hour.
So anyway, It Follows is... Well, we'll get into the plot as we review the trailer, but...
The plot will follow.
It was supposed to just be limited release and then video on demand, but in its limited release, it did so well, the studio decided to expand it and move it to a wide release. So, there you go. You know, like, I like seeing sequels, I like seeing remakes, I like seeing prequels, but you gotta go see the original looking movies and make sure they do well, or else we'll never get them.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta finance the movies that are original.
You gotta make the money.
Yeah, where people
the
have
ticket.
imaginations and original ideas.
You gotta
Yeah.
make the money, then you gotta get the women, then you get the power.
To get the ticket.
To get the ticket.
To
If
get
you
the
wanna-
ticket.
If you want to see more good movies, you gotta get the ticket.
If you
Yeah.
want this cow, milk it now.
But anyway, so that's just great. That,
Yes.
that a small movie like that is moving up, moving on up.
Moving on up.
But
Get a piece of pie.
Michael, you're the big horror expert
Hey, I
here.
mean, if
I
people
am.
pay to see it, the fan base will follow.
Michael, you're the big horror expert here.
I am.
And why don't you go into your thoughts on this? And also, I liked what you did the one night. No, we're not going there.
I don't know, Blake. That's kind of vague. I did stuff on a lot of nights.
I like the one thing you explained to me the other night, the evolution of horror, what it was in this decade, that decade. So, like, maybe just explain what that is and how that relates to what this is a tribute to. Go ahead.
Well, as the decades have gone on, horror has
lost its purpose.
No, I wouldn't say, because there's still good horror movies that come out. It's just
they're few and far between.
I wouldn't even say that. Like, if you look good enough, no. There's
all about gore now.
No, I think it's
not always.
No, I think it's gotten past the gore phase.
It's starting to, at least.
The big thing in horror, like, you got like the dawn of the 20th century. Like, you got like the early 1900s, 1920s, like the beginning of cinema. You had like the silent era, like with Lon Chaney Sr. And then you had the German expressionist era that was very visual. Tim Burton took a lot of influence from that with like the crooked, weird buildings in black and white. And then like in
Scissorhands had a lot of it too.
And then the 40s and the 50s.
And Ed Wood.
40s and the 50s was the movie monsters. You had the birth of Dracula and the Wolfman and Frankenstein on cinema.
Swamp Thing.
No, Swamp Thing's a comic book.
Don't talk about my mom.
The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
That, yeah.
Don't talk about my dad.
You know, like a lot of people don't realize this. The Phantom of the Opera started off as a book and then a normal movie before it didn't become a musical to the 80s. There was the old silent Phantom of the Opera movie, and then there was the newer one. And then Visible Man and all that stuff. And then in the 50s and the 60s, during the whole like nuclear scare, they did... The big thing was like aliens, robots.
B-movies.
Giant... Well, they weren't B-movies then. Like, they were the big horror movies. You had like the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms and stuff, and you had like Godzilla. You had them. You had the original It, like It from Another World, like stuff that had to do with aliens and nuclear warfare. Like,
you mean The Thing?
What'd I say?
It.
There's an It movie. I think it's called It Came from Outer Space. Like,
yeah.
And then like there's movies like with giant bugs. There's a bunch of them. Then the 70s. The 70s like was the birth of the slasher genre. Like even though Alfred Hitchcock did Psycho in the 60s. It really, like, Halloween and Black Christmas, like, really kicked that off, like, the tropes of, like, premarital sex and, like, the camera, like, being the killer's point of view and stalking them using a knife or a bladed weapon. And that's when, like, the rules in movies got a little more lenient and they would show a lot of blood and... Not gore, but, like, a lot of blood. Like, there was movies that were gory, like the Grindhouse movies. And the 80s... The 80s were a blend of the 70s and the 40s because you had like Freddy Krueger and like all the sequels to like Halloween and Friday the 13th. But then you had like 80s like delved back into the monster movies. Like you had Fright Night. You had there's 50,000 fucking werewolf movies in the 80s. Like you had American...
You went back to the way of a franchised monster.
Yeah, you had like American Werewolf in London and then Silver Bullet and The Howling and Wolfen and like they did all these...
Didn't a lot of the Hammer movies come out in the 80s?
They came out in like the 70s. That was the Hammer, but the Hammer movies, they were England. Like they were British import movies. And like that's how Christopher Lee got big. Like he played the Hammer version of Dracula. And
some of the 50s also kind of came back too. Some of them were sci-fi horror.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like the 80s like was doing slasher stuff, but they were bringing back the old stuff. Like they did like remakes of The Thing, they did a remake of The Blob and stuff like that. Wow. But they were like, and then there was the Monster Squad, like that 80s like kids movie where they fight all the classic movie monsters. Like they were mixing it up and stuff. And then the 90s is when horror movies started to really die down. And then Scream came out. And Scream, played on all the stereotypes of horror and stuff like that. And it really rejuvenated. Like, Scream was like the biggest horror movie in the 90s. And, it was made by Wes Craven. Wes Craven's been doing horror movies since the 70s. And the 2000s, like...
kind of quiet.
Well, like the 2000s, actually, what you said is when they started getting to the gore fest. Like you had like Saw and Hostel.
I'll give Saw
getting
this,
into
though.
Torture porn.
Saw was a little bit more clever because, or at least the first couple.
The first one was.
The first couple.
The second one. The second one is such a contrast.
I'll be generous and give the first 3.
Well,
They were a little bit more clever because they were more psychological about it.
And Saw 1, that's the only one that James Wan did, who we were just talking about.
Saw
earlier.
1's the best, and Saw 2 is the worst.
And then like nowadays, like
You went into how weird the 90s was, right?
Yeah.
Kind of they died off.
it died off and Scream. And
I had to step out from
And
that.
that-
Didn't
and
know.
that-
in
and
the
now-
90s, too, they kind of became bigger overseas more so than here. Like,
And,
there was
like-
a lot of crazy Japanese war.
yeah,
in the
and
90s,
like
Yeah.
the mid 2000s, we got all these foreign remakes. Like we had Wreck be adapted into Quarantine. We had The Grudge be Americanized.
The Ring.
We had The Ring.
From Ringu.
One Missed Call. There's a bunch of them. And then like nowadays, the big thing is like
Let the right one in.
Let the Right One In. It was called Let Me In here in America. And then now like the big thing ever since Paranormal Activity and even Cloverfield, but Cloverfield's not really a horror movie, is like the found footage / like ghost movies because we got Paranormal Activity, we got Insidious, we got The Conjuring, like really big on like ghost stuff and
Blair
like
Witch started it.
and feeling real and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then there's occasional movies that like pay homage, like there's The Guest, which the girl from
The Guest is in It Follows.
It Follows.
So
And
let's move into It Follows and what it is.
It Follows is from what I've read, It Follows is about a teenage girl that like.
Well, first of all, before we get into it, this sounds like a concept, a story, a plot that could easily be really fucking dumb. It could easily be really stupid.
Yeah.
But it works. It works.
Well, it's
Like once you see the trailer, the
It
pieces
works.
come together
Well,
and it.
my thing is that the key to horror is simplicity. It is. It always has been and it always will be. Being original, but being simplistic. It's about a a teenage girl that like wants to go on a date with this guy she really likes. They hook up in a car and they have premarital sex. That's a 70s 80s trope. And then he tells her that he has this curse and it passes on from having sex. He's like, I had it and now I'm giving it to you. And now wherever you are at all times, this thing is going to follow you. And it's just going to appear as like a person or a random stranger, and they're just going to walk towards you.
It's almost like
And if they catch you and they kill you, it'll go down the line. If it kills her, it'll go for me and then the person before me and so on and so forth. So the only thing you can do as far as he knows is to pass it on to someone else and have sex. So it's kind of like a big analogy for like sexually transmitted diseases and stuff like that. But that's kind of the dumb thing. It's like, oh well, now you have this curse. Now you have this curse, and just some random. I mean, how many times do you walk down the street and some random person far away is walking in your direction? You don't know if they're following you. But that's the thing. Once you
How many
start,
times are you driving
once
home
someone,
and there's a car?
once someone tells you that and says you're cursed and says someone's always going to be following you, that's just going to make you paranoid beyond belief. And and there's no explanation. It's like, well, where did this curse come from? Why is this creature doing it? I don't know, but it is. That's the thing. Why did Michael Myers, when he was a little kid, go insane and kill half of his family? I don't know. He just did. What brought Freddy Krueger back from the dead to haunt people in their dreams and get revenge? I don't know. It just is.
You can't
It's
over-explain.
It's like, how did Jason Voorhees drown as a little kid, come back from the lake as a grown man, and start killing people at Camp Crystal Lake? I don't know. It just happens. And that's the thing that scares people. People are afraid of what they don't know and what they don't understand.
Right.
But from what I've seen, I'm really excited for this. I love the 80s synthesizer music.
And
it looks good.
And this looks like a traditional to a fall tribute while being very classy. From what I've looked into, this movie has almost no blood in it.
Yeah.
There's no gore, no guts, no real violence.
And the thing
what movie did that and actually got away with it, and it became synonymous with being that frightening and not having
The
any of that.
Conjuring.
Well, I was going to say the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, there's no
blood.
gore in the original one.
Yeah.
It's the name that makes it sound gory.
That and the psychological horror.
Well, Halloween, the first Halloween doesn't have any blood.
Yeah.
The first Texas Chainsaw has a lot of implied gore, though.
Yeah, it's implied.
You know what's the most
Well,
violent?
the first Human Centipede has a lot of implied gore too.
Yeah, but you'll see stuff.
Yeah,
though.
but
Not
that,
much.
too, but that's
Not
Man,
much.
you can still hear poop going into
still
the
see
house.
people's
The
faces.
second
attached
one's
to their
the
butts.
second one's way worse.
Yeah, but no, the goriest scene in Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't even have to do with the chainsaw. It's when the guy's walking in the room and Leatherface just opens that metal door, comes out with a meat tenderizer, which is like, like a hammer for food, clocks the dude in the head, and you just hear like you just hear that crack, grabs the guy by his feet, drags him in, and then BAM! Shuts the door. And then that's it. You just see him hit him and pull him in, shuts the door.
So does It Follows get your thumb?
It does. It
You
does.
sticking it
No,
right
that gets
the
my
whole fist.
That gets my whole fist, possibly up to my elbow.
The Muppet.
But the cool thing is, like, the shot that there is
My
blood,
scale of 1 the Muppet.
the shot that there is blood and it follows, it's not someone
give it a
bleeding or
crown.
anything. It's just like, it might not even be blood. Like, it just looks like blood, like, going in the water. Like, it's smoky and it's slowly growing while the music's, like, very somber and creepy. But, yeah, no. It looks
But
really
yeah,
good.
let's Trevor.
I'm sorry I took forever, everybody.
Well, no, I wanted you to.
It gave me some nap time. I really love the Neo 80s vibe it puts off. I've always been a big fan of that since like Drive kind of brought it back to a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, horror hasn't really been able to find its own kind of niche for a while.
And I think really the whole
Yeah.
point of horror is that it doesn't have a set niche.
Well,
You know?
there's no like definable era anymore, is what I mean. Since like the late 90s, you haven't really had set eras. Almost.
Well, I would say, like, you have, like I said, like, early 2000s was, like, the torture porn. And, like, mid-2000s was the foreign remakes, like, the Japanese and stuff like that.
Well, it just feels like anymore they just try too hard.
Yeah, and, like, nowadays is, like, the found footage ghost stories.
Well, back to Trevor.
I mean, I think this one looks pretty unique in that
Yeah.
it sort of takes a nod to horror's past rather than trying to constantly reinvent itself like everything tries to do lately.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't see many of the cliches that I saw so many cliches in the Insidious 3 trailer, and I saw almost none in this.
Yeah.
And that made me like it way more as a whole.
I really enjoy the one review that's in the trailer, and it says, it's like an urban legend you've known your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really like that.
Yeah, that really kind of hits you.
Yeah.
Because everybody's heard, like, a story or, like, a campfire story.
Scuzzlebutt.
Yeah.
Candlejack. Oh shit.
No, I said Applejack.
I want a bowl of Apple Jacks. Go.
No, he didn't say Candlejack. Or the scariest story of all. They're gonna give Sinbad his own show again.
What if you went to grab something and it wasn't there because it turned into wood?
What if all the air in the world turned into wood? Kogo, come on. Get it up.
Yeah. As a young kid, as like a really little kid, I never liked horror movies because obviously they were god awful, but because I didn't like watching something that was going to scare the shit out of me. Now that I'm older, I'm like, I can't take half of these movies seriously because it's just like, oh, it's a ghost! It moved the cabinet!
I'm a haunted hamburger.
Burger! I ordered fries with it.
Man, it's a really long episode
Remember
of Ghost
that-
Hunters on Sci-Fi.
Remember that one scene in a recent horror movie where it was really quiet for a couple seconds and then something loud happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Remember the woman in black, too?
I like this.
No.
I like this. It has a
I remember
very...
that nap.
It has a very... I think Trevor said it best. The Neo 80s. Is that what you said?
Neo 80s.
Neo 80s feel. I like that. It's
the
green.
music in the beginning, I love it.
Oh, yeah, I do. So, yes, he gets my thumb.
You put it right
does it
up
get your
there.
whole thumb?
Oh, it gets the whole thumb.
The whole thumb.
It gets my whole thumb
can
and
we
curiosity.
escalate to a fist?
Take it slow.
He's
Okay.
being cautiously pacifistic.
You don't want blood.
Pacifistic. They see that. You can't just go in with the fist. You go in like this, and then you make the
You won't
fist.
find that kind of wordplay anywhere else.
All right, enough with the Muppet. Donnie.
I think this movie looks awesome.
I do.
I
do.
It's so good it made him a different ethnicity. Anyway,
Ethnicity.
I think this movie looks awesome. I think, in my personal opinion, the last really good era for horror movies was probably the mid-70s to late 80s, that was probably the last really good era for horror movies. I just feel like they try way too hard anymore, and in the end it ends up being the same thing. It's going to be quiet for 10 seconds, something loud's going to happen here, and then something bloody's going to be in this room. It's just, anymore a horror movie, you could just predict what's going to happen just based off the poster alone. So I think this movie's going to be very refreshing for the horror genre. I think this movie is going to be very refreshing for the horror genre. I definitely look forward to it. And what I love is it plays on stuff that pretty much anybody can relate to. It plays on the fear of the unknown. It plays on, the sense of helplessness. What am I going to do? How can I get out of this? And then it plays even what I love. I've never really seen this in a horror movie before. It plays on moral ambiguity. Because it's like, this thing's coming to get me. It's going to kill me if it gets to me. I know how I can get rid of it, but that's going to put somebody else in danger. It could put, somebody completely innocent in danger. Do I want to do that? Do I want to pass that on to somebody else? Do I want to pass that evil to a complete innocent stranger? So... And
also, another part that's just really relatable, I think, is, have you ever had that feeling where you go home late at night and the wind blows a certain way, or you hear a certain noise,
and you feel like there's somebody in the house.
There.
Yeah.
Like, is somebody there? Who's there? You've never felt that, Trevor?
It's your mama.
But yeah.
So I think this movie's awesome. It's hitting all the right stuff. It's hitting all the right themes. Stuff that anybody can relate to. Feeling, being afraid of. So
you giving it that thumb?
I'm giving it both thumbs.
Oh.
That's good. There might be some blood.
He's doing the old umbrella.
And I ain't talking about...
I'm never gonna give you up.
But I think it looks great. I want to see it. It's no mystery to anyone at the table. I can be incredibly squeamish at times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially with
That's because he's a pussy.
Especially with really chunky, fleshy stuff. Anything with the eyes or face.
Talk about me again.
Any chunky soup.
I just can't.
He can't watch those commercials.
Chunky soup. And it's like, I can take blood. It's like all you did was take the color red, put it in liquid form, and multiply it. But the thing is like making a movie. That
was a weird rationalization.
It's like, okay, Kogel.
Making a movie really bloody, that's not scary, that's not impressive. All you did was just make it bloody.
Yeah. All you did was take some cornstarch, chocolate syrup, and mix it around in a bucket.
But yeah, it's about time we get a movie that respects us as well as itself.
Will you quit?
And, but yeah.
You look like a young Dr. Lombardi.
The next piece of news we're moving into tonight is the Russo brothers, who directed Captain America, The Winter Soldier. They also helped create Arrested Development and Community, I think.
Hold on.
Well, anyway, the Russo brothers are going to direct the Avengers Civil War, or not Civil War.
You fucked up.
Well, they are directing Captain America Civil War also, but they are going to direct Avengers Infinity War Parts 1 and 2. What do we think of this news, starting with you, Donnie?
Well, I think The Winter Soldier so far is the best MCU movie.
What, haven't you finished it? You said so far.
As in, like, what's come out.
He knows.
He's being a jerk.
Well, if he tried to make a joke, he failed. Sorry.
They also directed you, me, and Dupree.
But anyway, so far out of all the MCU movies that have come out, Winter Soldier was the best one in my opinion. And I didn't even like the first Captain America that much. So, I think Winter Soldier's the best Marvel Cinematic Universe movie so far. So I'm definitely, they definitely have my approval for directing Infinity Wars. Not much more I can say about that. I mean,
Cool.
Avengers 2 looks awesome, and with these two doing Avengers 3 and I guess 3 Part 2, I think it's going to be even better.
With me, don't really have that much of a big opinion. All I know is that I liked Winter Soldier. I liked how it was still, you could still take it seriously, but yet it was still dark, that I could, pay attention to it and take it seriously at the same time. So, I'm going to hold my breath and hope it works.
You gonna hold that thumb?
I'm not going to give it away. I don't give my thumb away to just anybody.
But you're gonna keep it warm though.
I'm gonna warm that thumb up.
Okay, is everybody more excited for Age of Ultron or Civil War? Like, which one are you excited for more?
Civil War. More than Avengers 2?
I don't know. That's a toughie because Civil War is most likely going to be the first time we see Spider-Man in the MCU.
I haven't seen anything about Civil War yet, so I don't really want to make an opinion.
That movie's gonna bank on Cap and Iron Man mainly.
Well, yeah, but still,
Too bad.
I'm gonna have to say right now I'm feeling more pumped for Avengers 2.
Because
I
I
know
know
more
what
about
it looks
it.
like.
Well,
yeah.
that and especially since it's only like a month away. So
Yeah, I'm about the same.
Trevor. Russo brothers.
I was pretty happy about it, as I elaborated on in that text earlier.
me too. We should hang out sometime.
Yeah. No, I loved Winter Soldier. That was probably, I would argue, my favorite of the Marvel cinematic movies. But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy about it. I didn't realize they had anything to do with the rest of development, which makes me even more excited.
Yeah, they did. The only thing they did was like comedies before the Winter Soldier.
I met a girl today, and her name is Shit.
Yeah. But no, I'm pretty pumped for it. Like I figured this is the way it was gonna go after Joss Whedon said he wasn't doing either part, and I figured he'll just give it to the next people that everyone liked. But
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
You don't think they should give it to Shane Black?
No.
I think
because he royally fucked
It's gonna
up.
be about Tony not in his suit and Steve without his powers.
I think
And it's always gonna be Christmas.
I think with these two doing Infinity Wars, I think it's easily going to be like probably the greatest superhero movie ever.
Oh my God, that kid from Iron Man 3 was Spider-Man.
Just as an added note for earlier, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, it's directed by the guy who did Jack Reacher. It's written by the guy who did the screenplay for Iron Man 3.
Yeah, that guy sucks at chode.
Michael, what do we think of the Russo brothers?
They're handsome.
I
They're handsome. I take them out.
No, I'm very happy about it. I've always loved Captain America. I love the first Captain America movie. I think for me, for Phase 1, like Iron Man 1 and Cap, the first Avenger, they're tied for best Phase 1.
Same here.
Not counting the Avengers, because I'm going to put the Avengers movies like on their own thing.
They're their segue.
They're the in-betweens of the phases. Phase 2, I've already said the first half of Phase 2 kind of sucked. Well, not kind of. It did suck. Captain America, the Winter Soldier, blew all of them out of the water. Like, it was definitely the best out of Phase 2. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, I really like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't make a big deal about it like everybody else. That movie is a B+ for me. It was a B, but when I watched it again on Blu-ray, like when the hype kind of calmed down and I didn't hear people talking about it like every other minute. Like, I'm like, all right, it's a B+.
The raccoon talks and the tree's lovable because it's stupid.
Yeah.
And it talks.
And no, like, I love the Winter Soldier. Like, I was so surprised, like, the action. I thought I'd like the World War II stuff better, like, from the first one. But, like, the way they did the action and the characters, and, like, I mean...
It's a political thriller.
Spoiler alert, but the twist in the Winter Soldier... I mean, everybody knows what happens in the MCU, so, you know,
I
we're
didn't
like...
see it yet.
Shut the fuck up. Anyways, where Hydra's, like, been secretly running S.H.I.E.L.D., so now S.H.I.E.L.D.'s kaput. Like, I thought that was great. Like, it was just... It was a really...
The best meme ever, though, critiquing it is in that screenshot of the first Avengers movie when Tony Stark's like, I'm hacking into S.H.I.E.L.D.'s files. I'm going to know every dirty little secret they've ever tried to hide. Well, he missed a pretty goddamn big one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you could argue that was... Nick Fury didn't know, and that was his helicarrier, so he probably didn't have it on that computer.
And plus, the greatest of them all, it's a movie.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see, because I've read, like, Captain America comics. I've read Civil War comics, you know, leading a Civil War since the Russo brothers are doing that. They introduced the Winter Soldier, you know, Bucky and stuff like that. And
I think also it's going
to... The big, like, spoiler in the comics, sorry, but it's, like, over a decade old. But, the ending of Civil War is that Steve Rogers dies. You know, he gives his life and is assassinated. and he passes the mantle on to Bucky, the Winter Soldier. And I'm really, really curious to see if they do that. I mean, maybe not in this movie, maybe like that. Maybe that's like the cliffhanger for Infinity War Part 1. But I'd really like to see how they like transition with these newer actors and stuff like that. Because I'm beyond excited to see like fucking Ant-Man. Not like the movie looks okay, but as the I'm talking about the characters.
And the
I want to see Paul Rudd as Ant-Man and like Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange, and Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah,
Chadwick Boseman, like those three, like Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, and Black Panther were like, I'm like, those are the guys I want to see on the team. Like more than I wanted to see Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Like I'm excited for them now. But, like, those three in the Vision are the ones I want to see with everybody else. Like, I just want to see them all together.
I think also it's going to help these next few movies flow together better because the Russo brothers are going to do Civil War and then they're going to do Infinity War. I think it's going to help it, like, flow better.
And I think that's what made the Avengers so great. It's just, like, everybody wants to see them all together. And, they're like, now, like, we got, like, 6 people from the first one. And, like, we want to see everybody else come in. And now Spider-Man's a part of it. So now we're going to have, in Age of Ultron, we're going to have Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Vision. And then in Phase 3, like, we're going to have Black Panther, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, the Miss Marvel, and now Spider-Man. So, like, we're going to have a lot of stuff going on. And, like, they did amazing at the Winter Soldier. I'm sure they'll do great with Civil War and the Avengers. I'm curious to why Joss Whedon doesn't want to do it anymore. And like, wants to do too.
He's got stuff TiVo'd.
I don't know. But yeah, but no, I'm really excited.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited too, basically what you all said. I'm gonna conclude my planned schedule with my micro review of the Divergent series Insurgent. Just a minute.
Alright, so if y'all need to go to the bathroom, now's the time to do it.
Last night I saw Insurgent. Just basically quick review. I didn't like it as much as the first movie. I thought it was boring. The first movie actually showed some promise. I liked the first Divergent more than the first Hunger Games. I haven't seen the Hunger Games sequels, mainly because I don't give a shit. But,
Amen.
but
They're actually good.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll take your word for it. I'm never gonna see them, but but I like Divergent, and this one is just a filler episode. It's the filler episode that happens during the middle of a season, so you're already past the introduction, and then the good stuff isn't even coming yet.
The whole movie, Goku's trying to get his driver's license.
It's the Matrix Reloaded, except worse. It's just one big setup of a filler episode.
Aw, I like The Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah, The Matrix Reloaded is better.
Yeah.
But most of it doesn't actually happen. Most of it is just her having visions and dreams and simulations. So, like, I need to go back and check out how much of the movie actually fucking counts. So, yeah, that's my review. I give it, like, a 6 out of 10.
How many tubs of popcorn?
I give it...
The kitty size.
I give it the one that dropped on the floor and you were thinking of picking it back up and eating it, and then you just went on.
Damn.
But yeah, Michael, let's go with your mystery topic.
Okay, so my mystery topic has to deal with comic books.
Okay.
This is a very famous comic book author. I don't know if Kogo or Donnie's wrote any of his stuff. They probably have. But Mark Millar is coming out with a new, I think the first issue's out, maybe the second one. He has a new story about a group of scientists in their story. They're the first people to ever time travel, and he's doing a time traveling story called Chrononauts. And I don't know what happens in the first issue, but if you know Mark Millar, like his style is very edgy and realistic.
What
like
else did he make?
He's made he basically helped make the Ultimate Universe.
He created Wanted and Kick-Ass.
Wanted, Kick-Ass.
Oh,
okay.
Superman, Red Sun.
He wrote the book to Kingsman. Like, he's a very edgy writer, very edgy and
I'm a fan of the
realistic.
Ultimate Universe, but everything else is pretty cool.
Oh, I love the Ultimate Universe.
I hate Ultimate Universe.
All right, well, it's Chrononauts.
But I think it sounds like a really cool idea. Other than that,
The problem is, I can see it being like a giant mess that's very hard to follow. Time travel stories are very, very hard to do.
You have to be really, really careful with time travel
You
because
pretty much have to have an Excel spreadsheet for every issue you write because you got to make sure you don't contradict anything you've already ever done.
But my thing is like I've read a lot of Mark Millar stuff, and I'm going to tell you right now, Mark Millar is not stupid at all. He is one of the most smart, intricate. Like he has a lot of derogatory stuff and very graphic stuff in it, but he is not in any shape or form stupid. He knows what he's doing when he's writing.
I just need to take a second and just what just happened. Michael goes, he's not stupid. Coco just goes, oh. I wasn't informed he wasn't stupid.
Wait, we need a fact check.
Also,
Do we know this?
You need to go.
and also on Slash Film, it's only 1-2 issues in, and it already has a movie deal.
Wow.
Because that's how big Mark Millar is, because so much of his stuff has been adapted into movies. Like, it only has 2 issues in, and it already has a movie deal. I forget what movie company it is on. Universal. Universal is
They helped make Wanted in the second Kick-Ass.
Yeah. So, since Blake never starts first, Blake, what do you think of Chrononauts, Mark Millar? I know you really like Mark Millar.
What
I mean, he wrote All-Star Superman, your favorite superhero story, or Superman story.
No.
He didn't?
No, that's Grant Morrison.
That's Grant Moore. I'm
Well,
sorry.
same guy.
My bad. But no, you like Mark Millar.
Well, no, I do like Mark Millar. What is the exact plot to it? Like, who are the characters? What's up? What's going on?
I'm trying to find it. I read it on Slash Film. It's these 2 scientists that are kind of like jokesters, and they build like the first, in like their world, you know, like the first ever time machine, and they like chronicle it and stuff, like the first ever journeys through time and stuff. So it's kind of like has like, I guess maybe it has to deal with the media and stuff like that.
Is it?
And I think like a big thing, it has to deal with the repercussions of time travel. I guess they're going back in time and like knowing Mark Millar, like shit's gonna get fucking crazy.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is it like adult centered or
It's
like?
Mark Millar.
If it's Mark
Well,
Millar,
I mean,
it is.
okay.
They're going to go back in time, give Goku the vaccination to the
I'm looking
disease,
up the IMDb page right now.
and then they're going to kill Frieza and stop the androids.
Beats the strongest alien in the universe, has a heart attack, and pusses out.
But yeah, I think that sounds cool. I'll totally go see it. I like Mark Millar a lot.
hell, I'll even buy the comic and read it.
I was entertained by the comic book of Wanted. It's not really a feel-good book, the comic book of Wanted. It is very...
None of Millar's stuff is.
No, it's not. It is very messed up, but it was a very entertaining book. I didn't really care for the movie. I thought that they just made it really generic. It was just about anti-hero assassins instead of just straight-up supervillains, which would have been more interesting. I really like Superman Red Sun. I thought it was very interesting. I like the first Kick-Ass movie. The second one, to me, is just kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
I didn't like the second Kick-Ass book. So I didn't like it either way.
I still need to read the third one to see if the book.
Okay.
Itself.
I hate the ending. I'll tell you that.
I know. Well, let me finish.
Okay.
The third book.
I didn't read the book.
Oh, you've read it?
I hate the ending.
Okay.
I didn't like the I never read the book for Kingsman, but the Secret Service. I thought the movie was cool. I mean, I know you thought it was cool too,
I liked
Kogo. It's crazy. It's a wild movie.
I wish the Nemesis movie was still happening because that would have been some crazy shit.
I think they're still trying to make it happen.
I would love that because it's essentially what if Batman was just an insane villain.
Is there a year set for it, Mike?
I don't know.
Next year.
Doesn't.
Next Friday.
Well, like the movie?
Yeah,
It's coming out.
No, they just
Nemesis.
have plans for the
So
movie.
either
I need to
next
tell
year or
you
the year after, I
One
guess.
of his weird, elaborate ideas from that book when we're done this.
But yeah, I'll totally go see it.
No, they've just like bought the movie rights, but it's
Oh.
just kind of funny because it's only 3 issues in.
Yeah.
It's mainly just because it's Mark Millar, but I think okay, I found the plot description for it's more like just a basic summary. Corbin Quinn and these are the characters. Corbin Quinn and Danny Riley are 2 buddies who love to have fun. They're also scientific geniuses. When their research leads them to a time-traveling adventure, will they use their knowledge for the good of all mankind, or use their space-time continuum for their own ends? This is the story of man's first televised step. So yeah, it's like recorded in the meaning. Man first televised steps through the time stream and everything going wrong in the process. So what I'm getting at, because Mark Millar likes to be like very like edgy and some of the stories that, you know, these two like scientific geniuses discover time travel, and it's going to be televised with the media and stuff, but their attitudes and stuff like that, they might use it for their personal gain, they might not, and you know, but I think it sounds really interesting. The artwork's really cool too. The artwork is done by Sean Gordon Murphy, who did a comic called Punk Rock Jesus.
Wow.
I've not read that one.
Okay.
Yeah, like they almost kind of look like Ghostbusters in their picture.
Huh.
But yeah, that's.
I already went.
What do you think, Donnie?
I mean, like I said, I like some of the other stuff he did. Like I think Kick-Ass for the most part is pretty awesome. I even love Superman Red Sun, and I'm not a Superman fan at all. I don't even really like most
Communism.
of the... Yeah. Well, no, that I do like. But anyway, I mean, the whole DC universe in general, I'm not even really a fan of, but I love Superman Red Sun. I think that's one of the best superhero stories ever. But like I said before, time travel stories they can get messy, they can become difficult to follow. And then there's always, time travel's been done so much and in so many different ways, there's always the chance of it becoming just generic and boring. But he's got a good track record so far, so I mean, I'm sure he'll at the very least do decent with this. So,
Google.
I've seen a lot. I'm a big like sci-fi buff, so normally when you watch a lot of sci-fi stuff, you're going to encounter a lot of time travel related things. One thing I've always noticed is there's this really thin line. If you're going to make a story that has to do with time travel, you got to walk this really thin line between being smart enough that you don't appear like, you know, a stupid screenwriter who is just in this for the money. At the same time, you got to be making sure that you're not too smart that you lose your audience. And while you're walking that straight line, you got to make sure that all of your events coincide with one another. So I'm optimistic for this thing, but not just because it's like sci-fi-esque. Just because that, you know, I mean, at least it's not, you know, a generic thing that's a reboot or something else. It's an original idea. So I'm for it.
Trevor?
I really like Mark Millar's previous stuff. I just like that almost all of his stories, no matter like the protagonist or antagonist, they always have this like at least one set of feelings of like absolutely no hope for the main character. I really like the way Kick-Ass handled it a couple times, but I don't know. I just like his style of writing, so I think the book, the movie, if it happens, I think either one could be pretty cool. He always kind of breaks a boundary where like other writers would normally stop with how gruesome things could get.
Yeah, like he doesn't really. A lot of people put, you know, they draw a line where they're like, I'll never cross that. Mark Millar never worries about that. Like and it's like gore. I guess because gore doesn't really bother me. I think too much of it, and if you're just having gore for the sake of gore, it's stupid. But he's not like that. Like, his is more kind of showing, like, a realism, and he's not afraid to let his creativity go where it wants to.
He seems to be the guy...
He has a lot of integrity.
The one plot line in Nemesis is how I'll always define how far he can go as a writer.
Yeah. But that's the thing, the point of Nemesis is to terrify you.
Yeah.
And that this is a terrifying villain character.
Batman is a supervillain.
Yeah, I've always seemed to think that he has a mantra in his head that just says, if it happens, well, it happens, I guess.
And I love my favorite thing of him is the Ultimates, like, which is the Ultimate Avengers. They just call it the Ultimates. If we didn't have that, we would not have the Avengers movie, because Ultimates 1, it's the same fucking plot. It's when they first team up and they fight an army of aliens, the Chitauri. So you can thank Mark Millar for the first Avengers movie.
So that it?
Yeah,
yeah, Blake, there's a podcast going on. Would you like to join us?
Yeah, he's just back there like far away on his own. I might throw in like a mystery topic every now and then. Maybe someone else will. I encourage the other guys to do it. I thought it'd be a cool idea. I literally thought of it on the drive here. So, yeah.
It shows.
Well, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, thank you for tuning in. You can find Pooka Saucy on Twitter at Pooka Saucy or hashtag Pooka Saucy. I'm Blake Jones. You can find me on both Tumblr and Twitter at Blake V. Jones.
I'm Donnie Johnson. You can also find me on Twitter at TheDonJohn1991. Definitely follow Pooka Saucy on Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We got a ton of awesome stuff coming out. Hails and Fails Season 2 will begin filming soon, hopefully. You can find me at your local AT&T store.
My name is Zachary Kogel. You can find me on YouTube at Gilzilla. I'm also on Twitter at Gilzilla. You can find me on Tumblr at System Lumbra. You can also find me on SoundCloud at Guile. That's Gyle.
I'm Trevor Klein. You can find me on Facebook by my name, or on Twitter at Bumbus Columbus, or at your local library.
Are you going to make a tweet soon?
Probably.
Okay,
I gotta think of one.
And I am Mike Whedon. You could find me now. I just joined literally last night at Twitter at mwhedon. Same goes for Instagram. You can find me there at mwhedon. You can finally find me at Tumblr, Blood in the Abyss, all one word, at tumblr.com. And you can find me at the local neo-Nazi club.
Well, I know what's...
Jesus.
I know what's getting cut. That it?
It's a joke. I'm not racist at all.
No, he's just a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, that's exactly what a neo-Nazi would
I
say.
love everyone.
And everyone loves
That
you.
reminds me of the most random vlogger I ever encountered on YouTube. I just kept hitting what's new right now, and I found a video, and this is honestly the opening of this guy's video. I hate Nazis, I hate Jews, and he keeps naming off more people. I hate Nazis, I hate Jews. You had me, and then you lost me.
He just hates everybody.
Yeah.
Wow.
That it?
Man, there's gonna be like one
why don't
person
you-
that listens to this and
why don't you-
accidentally clicks the last couple seconds.
Why don't you take us out of here, Kronk?
Yeah, why don't you send us off, Kronk?
I guess that means for everybody here at Pooka Saucy, stay classy.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.